Thank you, Rita. Good evening and welcome to Look North. Our top story tonight. Police make arrests following a night of violence on the streets of Leeds. Officers were attacked and vehicles set on fire. Locals in Hare Hill said they were shocked and devastated by what happened and say it's not reflective of the community.
The people from this local community came out. We knocked on doors. They were giving us their washing up bowls. They were giving the buckets from their bathroom. You know, we were bringing in buckets of water and we put the fire out ourselves.
We'll have the latest from Hare Hills this evening. Also tonight, the Olympics are just a week away. Yorkshire swimmer James Wilby is preparing for what could be his last games in Paris. And still rocking, York band Shed 7 talked to us ahead of their next gig, celebrating 30 years in the music business.
It's been a long time coming, but today has been the hottest day of the year so far. Scarborough Beach looking very busy earlier this afternoon. The big question is, will it last for the weekend? Don't forget that all-important forecast.
It's Friday evening. Thank you for joining us. Police have made several arrests following violence in a Leeds suburb overnight and say more are expected over the coming days. Police say they were called to Hare Hills at around 5 o'clock yesterday at tea time. Witnesses have told Look North some children were being taken into local authority care and people began to gather on the street. Over the next few hours, the crowds grew and trouble escalated. Police vehicles were damaged and a double-decker bus was set on fire. Officers then came under attack from what's been described as a barrage of bricks and missiles, which led to the police withdrawing from the area before returning with the fire service in the early hours of this morning. Emma Glasby has been following the story and joins us now from Hare Hills. Emma.
Well, this evening, the people living here are understandably still in shock, still worried and upset by what's happened over the past 24 hours. And of course, the community here in Hare Hills is desperate for things to remain calm. Now, last night, from that initial call to police by children's social workers here in Hare Hills, things escalated quickly. We look back now on a disturbing night on these streets. Violence erupts outside family homes in Leeds. This was Hare Hills last night. Images had been shared on social media of children being removed from a house by police whilst a crowd gathered outside. West Yorkshire Police has said its officers were attacked after responding to a call from social workers who were met with hostility when dealing with a child protection matter. One witness told us at least 1,000 people eventually spilled out onto the main road. A double-decker bus was set alight. Pictures were shared widely on social media. Today, the violence has been condemned by political leaders.
I am absolutely appalled by the behaviour of a small minority, and I really welcome that the police have made a number of arrests. I also want to strongly urge calm and to say to parents, please make sure that your youngsters are home with you and not on the streets. My message also is to everyone, please refrain from speculating on social media.
Last night, the police had withdrawn by midnight, saying it was to allow community mediation in order to calm the situation. There were still hundreds of people on the street and the air was heavy with smoke. But the community rallied round to put out the fires. A wheelie bin was filled with water and local people tried to dampen down the flames.
It's the same message that I've been given all night. This community is yours, it belongs to us. Anything that gets harmed in this community is ours. This bus was ours, this library is ours, these traffic lights are ours. We need to take pride in our own community and make sure that these kind of things can't happen here.
In the early hours of the morning, the police returned, this time with West Yorkshire Fire Service. There was confusion and disbelief from people who live here. Several arrests were made, with more likely to follow in the coming days. West Yorkshire Police has said it will leave no stone unturned in the hunt for all those involved. Now, there has been a lot of discussion, especially on social media, about the police response last night. There has been some criticism from some members of the community about officers not being on the ground at the height of the disturbance last night. Well, earlier today, I sat down with the chair of the West Yorkshire Police Federation, which represents officers.
I think it's shocking. I think it's an appalling state where you've got, off the back of a single incident, a small minority of people have wanted to cause a level of damage to that extent, to set a bus on fire that all it does is help people that haven't got vehicles. It helps them to get to hospitals, it helps them to get to shops. The police vehicle that was overturned and damaged, that will stop a response to a 999 call. That's one less resource that we have in a finite resources. We don't have an abundance of police vehicles.
We saw a lot of people on the streets last night, but there will have been a lot of families presumably locked in their homes, terrified.
Policing is about looking after those that are most vulnerable in our communities. So it would have been a very frightening experience for those in the communities that are not only vulnerable, but just everyday normal people going about their business.
There was a lot of talk on social media about police officers retreating and there not being emergency services around. What would you say to that?
I wouldn't want to go into the police tactics, certainly not from last night either, and it wouldn't be right or appropriate for me to do that.
But presumably it's one of the police's priorities in that situation is de-escalating.
Absolutely, and maybe perhaps with the fact of a presence is also one. Sometimes one of the tactics is just to withdraw and to see how that then de-escalates a situation.
So there were a lot of people last night trying to do everything they could do to stop this, weren't there?
There are amazing people in our communities, and it doesn't matter which community you go to, there are always those that are trying to help the communities. And ultimately that is what the police are there for. Hopefully this won't carry on, it'll be a single episode that's happened, and hopefully those in the community will be able to reach out to those that have caused the trouble to de-escalate that.
What's your response to a lot of the criticism that police officers face after a situation like that on social media, for example?
I would say walk a mile in our shoes. It's all right sat behind a keyboard. It's all right sat on a comfy sofa and being able to type away to your heart's content with very or little backlash. See what we actually have to put up with. See about the level of violence that we are put up against. You know, those officers and the way that they conduct themselves, not just last night, but the way they conduct themselves in West Yorkshire, they do extraordinary things every day.
Now, the local people here in Hare Hills really did rally around last night, as we saw from those photos, those images of people trying to put out the flames, and they rallied around again today. They have told us they are devastated by what's happened, and it is not reflective of this community. Our reporter Corinne Wheatley has spent the day here.
The mess is cleared up, but the concerns remain. The burned wreckage of a double-decker bus was loaded up onto a recovery vehicle this afternoon, and acrid dust swept away. It was one of the only real signs of the chaos from Thursday night. Hundreds of people came and went through the day to talk with neighbours and friends about the impact of a night of violence.
It's terrible to see what's happened. You know, it's not Hare Hills for you. Hare Hills and Gipton. This is not Hare Hills and Gipton. You know, we all live as a community. You know, we all live with each other, and it's not like this. So I'm very saddened to see this.
Like they've said before, yeah, you know, like with my family, we've been here since 4th generations. You know, my great-granddad was here, and this was a lovely area. And you know, seeing something like this, just absolutely ugly scenes, and especially I've got little children at home, and you know, when they're seeing it, hell is home, and burning buses and tippling over police cars is not going to be home.
We all live really well together, so the fact that nobody got hurt was not by accident, is because this was not about tensions within the community.
Some businesses remained closed earlier on, but many opened up a little cautiously.
Today was, it was a difficult decision. But we were ready. We put some stuff outside, so we didn't put it today because we thought if we start again, so we'll just close it down quickly.
Have you got a message to the local community?
To local community, yes, I think where they're living, this is their area. They have to look after the area. I think that's up to them how to keep this area clean and nice with less trouble. So.
Some business owners who didn't want to speak on camera shared frustrations about the police withdrawing for a time when the trouble intensified last night. Members of the community were seen trying to calm the situation themselves.
The people from this local community came out. We knocked on doors. They were giving us their washing up bowls. They were giving the buckets from their bathroom. You know, we were bringing in buckets of water and we put the fire out ourselves. The local bobbies, they weren't protected. They didn't have shields. They didn't have helmets, and they were being hurled at with bricks and bottles. You can't expect anyone without that preparation to stand in that. So I don't blame them. I don't think it was the right decision to withdraw at that point. I think they needed more support.
What is next for Hare Hills then? How does the community move forward from this?
We need a real plan to build this community. We need proper dialogue, proper communication between people who are on the ground and people who are in power.
Scores of police were on the streets in Hare Hills today trying to reassure people. Their presence on Foundry Approach, where many people had gathered, grew during the afternoon as the clear-up work was done. The atmosphere was still a little tense at times today. Many people told us they were anxious not to see temperatures rise again. Corinne Wheatley, BBC Look North, Leeds.
Now this evening there is still a fairly large police presence here in Hare Hills. There are several people in police custody tonight, and West Yorkshire Police has said that more arrests are coming over the next few days. Tonight though, the focus is on keeping things calm and of course keeping local families here reassured.
Emma, thank you, and that clean-up will continue. Emma, live in Hare Hills for us tonight. Now you're watching Friday's Look North. Still to come on tonight's programme. In golf, North Yorkshire's Dan Brown went top of the leaderboard in round one and remains a serious contender today. Some more news from around the region now, and a man has appeared in court charged with murder after the death of a woman in Leeds last year. Louisa Hall was found dead at a flat in Little London last October. She was 43. 59-year-old Stephen Francis from Kingston Terrace in Woodhouse appeared at Leeds Magistrates Court today. He's been remanded to appear at Crown Court next week. Scarborough's Alpamara Water Park will reopen to the public next Wednesday. North Yorkshire Council and new owners Flamingo Land say they've been working hard to get the park ready for customers again. It's been closed since December last year when the previous operator went into administration. The Alpine-themed spa and treatment area will open at a later date. Now, thousands of mourners have gathered in Bradford for the funeral of an influential spiritual leader in the Muslim community. Pir Saeed Maruf Hussain Shah came to the UK in the 1960s and helped set up the first mosque in Bradford in a terrace house. There are now 160 mosques and supplementary schools. His funeral is about to be held at Bradford Central Mosque, as our reporter Aisha Iqbal now reports.
Thousands of mourners gathered at Bradford Central Mosque this evening to remember a man, to honour a man who is seen as a visionary, a true visionary, who brought communities together and who, apart from being a family man himself, had a family of 2 million followers in Bradford, in the UK and across the world. Sophia Bunsey and Toby Howarth, Bishop Toby Howarth, join me now to remember him. Sophia, what did he represent? What did Saeed Bij Saab represent to the people of Bradford?
I think Bij Saab endearingly was somebody who resonated with all generations, not just the first generation of arrivals here when he first set up a mosque, but young people, and I think he was revered for his values, for his servitude to God, but also servitude to the community, and most of all his resilience. He was very much somebody you could reference from, somebody to take advice from, and a very, very wise man.
Wisdom, very important. Bradford, a large city, but his reach was really across the world, wasn't it? 2 million followers he had.
It was absolutely immense across the UK, across the world. Somebody, as I've said, revered for their personal values, for their pioneering attitude towards developing faith-based places, but also developing communities as well.
Thank you. And Bishop Toby, he was also a man who worked very much in multi-faith and someone you knew and worked with personally as well.
Indeed. I think we can see here just what an impact he made on his followers. People loved him. He was a pioneer. And I think the wonderful thing about Bradford is that we're building on the work of real giants like Peer Saab. And the work here has gone on for many generations, but we owe so much to him. I've been talking with colleagues from the Hindu, Sikh, Jewish, Christian traditions, and we've all put together a statement together to express our condolences. We recognise just what a loss this is for Bradford, and we want to pay our respects and show our condolences to our Muslim brothers and sisters.
And at a time when religion and religions sometimes are deeply misunderstood, how important is it for a figure like this to be honoured, who actually represented not his own religion, but faith in its purest form?
Yeah, I think one of the things about faith is that the more confident you are in your own faith, the more you're able then to reach out to other people. And for Peer Saab to come over here at a time when there was no religious infrastructure, you could say, and to build it up himself, really from scratch, to then give the Muslims of Bradford that sense of confidence, that sense of knowledge in their own tradition, means that we're now in a position where we really are talking to each other with that confidence, and that is so important for the cohesion of Bradford today.
There you go, a leader, a visionary and a father to many. He's being honoured tonight. Up to 15,000 people are expected at Bradford Central Mosque today.
Yes, a huge turnout in Bradford this evening. Now we're on to sport. Sally is here. A balmy evening for the sports section tonight, Sally.
Yeah, it's a nice evening if you've got some cricket or something to watch with your son, perhaps, which I might have. So let's start, though, with golf and a surprise contender for the Open. Dan Brown from North Yorkshire was top of the leaderboard after round one yesterday in his first ever major championship start. And he's had another good day, remaining in contention for one of the sport's most prestigious tournaments. Reporter Adam Powell has been to Dan's local club in Northallerton.
Joint leader of the Open. Last night, as some of golf's biggest names struggled, Dan went round in 65, 6 under par and leading the championship. A surprise for many, but not those at Romanby Golf Club near Northallerton, where Dan plays and practices.
He's just a brilliant golfer all round. We see him doing it round here all the time.
He's practiced so hard and it's all coming to fruition now, so it's just, yeah, for the club, for him, for his family and friends, it's all just been amazing. Really.
He's a friend of Dan's. He caddied for him in the qualifying, so Will's up there supporting him as well with a couple of other of his mates.
The fine weather saw golfers head out on the course today. Those who've played with Dan know the secret of his success.
His best asset's his driving accuracy is fantastic, and that's what leads him into the potential shots that he's got and scores he can make, because he's just so consistent off the tee.
There's plenty of support for Dan at the club. Some have even stuck a couple of quid on him, lifting the claret jug.
Maybe a small one, yes, but it's a long way to go yet, so...
Reveal all. What have you got on him?
£5 each way, 2,000 to 1, so... Yeah, wow. Fingers crossed.
Wow. Many at Romanby Golf Club are daring to dream, so can the rank outsider from North Yorkshire really do it?
Of course he can. That would be outstanding if he could. There'd be a big party here if he managed to do that.
What a story. Well, elsewhere at Troon, it's not been a great day for Yorkshire, but Sheffield Joe Dean finished today on 4 over par, so might still make the cut. Matt Fitzpatrick, though, won't be happy. He returned to the clubhouse 6 over par. Wakefield's Dan Bradbury needs a miracle, though, after his opening round of 83. Now, there are just 7 days to go until the Olympics opening ceremony, and swimmer James Wilby from York is making his final preparations for what could be his last games in Paris. There he is. He already has a silver medal to his name, but he's hoping for more as he attempts to bury demons from the last games in Tokyo. Alistair Gill's been catching up with him.
Tokyo saw both triumph and disappointment for James Wilby. He won silver as part of the men's 4x100 metres medley team, but failed to reach the podium in the individual 100 metre and 200 metre breaststroke finals, finishing 5th and 6th respectively.
It was pretty disappointing in that regard. I think, you know, it's really hard to look back on. I'm in such a small number of people that have ever qualified and been to the Olympic Games, which is, you know, something I should always be fortunate for, or grateful for, sorry. And then on top of that, I have an Olympic medal in my possession, and so I'm extremely grateful for that. So reflecting on Tokyo is often challenging. But yeah, I think the individuals, you know, would have been one of the ones where I'd look to hopefully move on from the last Games.
Unfortunately for Wilby, his main rival for individual glory is the fastest breaststroke swimmer there's ever been, Adam Peaty, who's back competing for Team GB after recovering from a foot injury and stepping away from the sport for a while to focus on his mental health.
Individual competitions are one thing, but, you know, looking at the team as a whole, big picture, you know, 30 athletes, it's really important that we have our best foot as a country forward. And so, yeah, as you know, as a collective team effort, I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, competition is always a fun thing. So, you know, it is what it is. You deal with the cards that you're dealt, I suppose. It just so happens that those are my cards.
Is this the last Games for you, do you think, James, or do you think you've got another one in you?
I'm not 100% certain. I think it's likely that I will want to make sure that this one's a good one, just to be sure. Let's put it that way. But we'll see. You know, you never know. It's one of those ones where, who knows, I might be back in 4 years doing a different sport. You know, if there's, like I say, a backstroke event slot opening up, you may see me there.
Alistair Gill, BBC Look North.
Good luck to James Wilby. He's been a really strong competitor for many years. And fun fact, Amanda, about Dan Brown, the golfer we were talking about, his nickname is Da Vinci Code, after, of course, his namesake, the author of Blockbusters.
Wow, every day's a school day. Sally, thank you so much for your contribution this evening. Now from sport to music, and they're a York band who made history earlier this year when they celebrated their first #1 album nearly 30 years after their first release, which I can remember well. Now Shed 7 are gearing up for the first of 2 homecoming gigs in York, with 8,000 excited fans heading to the Museum Gardens over the weekend. Georgie Spanswick has been catching up with the lead singer Rick Witter.
I remember being 12, 13 years old, bombing around on my bike in these gardens, you know, just riding piggyback on our friends, you know, listening to loud music on ghetto blasters, disturbing the OAPs.
Nice.
You know, so it's absolutely amazing, and seeing the stage for the first time now, it just looks incredible.
What do you reckon? I mean, 4,000 Yorkies and people coming from far and wide to come and see you. I mean, it's amazing.
Absolutely incredible. It's testament to our staying power over the years, for a start. But, you know, I mean, it's going to be such a special weekend. We wanted to find somewhere that's different because of the nature of the fact it's our 30th anniversary of recording artists. And no disrespect to anywhere else in York, but it seemed a little bit obvious. I believe the last time a rock act played here was Roxy Music in the 1970s. Fingers crossed for every summer going forward. They're going to get big acts coming to York every summer and do this every year. It'll be great because we're the first to do it.
Is it the same feeling that you got back in the 90s?
Oh, always, always. You know, whenever I do a gig, I'll get the pre-gig nerves, and you know, I understand why I get them. I think it's because I just want the gig to be good. If there's so many people watching you, it just has to be good. People have spent a lot of money on tickets to come and see us. They want to relax, forget about their everyday life, and just let loose.
And haven't they got the weather for it? Which brings us nicely on to Mr. Paul Hudson. I would have expected you'd be on the golf course today, Paul.
Do you know, the number of Fridays I've been playing golf in the rain and I have to work on the hottest day of the year. It's typical, isn't it?
We're very honoured.
Yeah, 2 years ago today, we broke 40 degrees for the first time, so it's quite an interesting anniversary. I mean, I don't know whether you remember that, but
I don't actually.
It was. You don't remember the 40 degrees?
Do you know what? I'm not sure I like this hot weather.
You must have been on holiday again, Amanda. But anyway, we've got 40 degrees at Bramham 2 years ago today. So 29 degrees is fairly pedestrian in comparison, but There's been some fantastic scenes around. That was Whitby, a few people. That was around about lunchtime. There's a lot of beach to be had there. It looks as though it's going to be another nice day along the coast tomorrow. The risk of 1 or 2 thunderstorms later on in the day. So if you've got any pictures, if you're out and about over the weekend, you can send them to me. The addresses are on your screen right now. So the headline for tomorrow is a little bit mixed. The best of the weather likely to be at first. It's fine and warm, but clouds will increase. We'll see a risk of 1 or 2 thunderstorms later, and I think the highest risk probably through the afternoon across parts of the Pennines, but it's a bit of a messy one. Some spots will actually stay dry, but we're looking at cooler air coming in behind this weather system, so it means if timings remain the same, a ridge of high pressure means Sunday is mostly dry with some sunshine before rain returns during the course of Monday. But yes, today has been the hottest day of the year so far. Top temperature at the moment was 29 degrees in Sheffield this afternoon. That's 84 Fahrenheit. You can see the satellite picture looking very nice. There's a bit of medium cloud out there. That will act to keep the warmth in, so it's a balmy evening wherever you are across Yorkshire and the North Midlands. Just a hint of a bit more cloud later on across the Pennines, and certainly a muggy night to come, warm and close. Temperatures in Leeds and York, Sheffield as well, no lower than 16 Celsius tonight. That is 61 degrees Fahrenheit. So tomorrow's high water times in Scarborough at 4:04, Bridlington at 20 minutes past 4. So it's a fine, bright, warm start in the morning with some sunshine, but clouds will increase. 1 or 2 showers in the morning, otherwise it is fine. But I think it's the Pennines will see the highest risk of some shower outbreaks of thundery rain in the afternoon. As you can see further east, just a hint of 1 or 2 thunderstorms breaking out, but actually many eastern areas could well stay dry tomorrow. Not as hot as today, but still pleasantly warm, still a humid feel. I think sort of eastern areas at York, 24 degrees tomorrow, that's 75 Fahrenheit. More of the same Saturday evening, warm and humid. You can see 1 or 2 thunderstorms breaking out in places, but you might just get away with a barbecue if you're lucky. Sunday then looks cooler and fresher, but dry with some sunshine. The rain returns on Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday, not looking too bad. At the moment, that's the forecast.
Now, my husband wants to go camping next week. Can I tell him it'll be a washout on Monday?
Well, you can if you don't want him to go, yes.
Much rather be in a hotel.
Right.
Thank you very much, Paul. That's it from us. Have a lovely weekend. Whatever the weather has in store, we'll be back with your late news and weather at around 10:30. Goodbye.